My question for you is, since I haven't really gotten to the part of working much with contractors, I think it's about how do you approach setting the tone, and how do you approach how you work with them, especially when things aren't going quite as you would hope. And it seems like those who are most successful probably have this part of the equation the most figured out.
I think the important thing is to recognize that like you need to take extreme ownership of this, right? Like if you miss out on a deal, it can't just be because, well, the contractor didn't get back to me in time, right? Because you're the one that it ends up affecting. That's one of the beauties of this type of work, this type of investing, is it's super results oriented. And if something doesn't happen, it ends up coming back to you. So if you want a bid faster and you can't get a hold of your contractor and you can't get a response from them, you got to send in another contractor.
Okay.
Right? And I think one of the ways that you can do that tactfully is call, email, voicemail, text, do all that stuff. And then I would, after you've basically gotten to the point where you're like, I'm not getting the response that I need and I need to move quickly, and you're going to send somebody else in, you might just say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and send in another contractor because I'm not sure whether or not you're wanting to or have the capacity to do this or whatever.
Yes.
So I can get another bid. That might help communicate some urgency on their end. You also want to make sure that you've communicated that urgency, right? Like, hey, these under market properties tend to go pretty quickly. So I'd like to get a bid pretty quickly. Can I get it by Friday? Okay, perfect. Right. And you had that conversation with them. So it's a little bit past that, but just holistically, like that's something you've got to define is the level of urgency and when you need something, like the timeline for getting something done. Then secondly, once you realize things aren't going according to that timeline, give them a heads up, do everything you can to get in touch with them, but then send somebody else in.
Okay.
And one of the ways that you can communicate your level of urgency is your quickness to send somebody else in. Right.
Yeah, no, I think that's a good point. I probably could have done maybe a better job of like defining the exact time what I could give back when I've heard a day or two. That in itself is a bit ambiguous.
Right.
Right. So I need to like definitely say, okay, so end of day Tuesday, I'll definitely have this right. And then the other thing I could do better is communicating the why, because these things are going quickly and I want to be able to move quickly on this.
Yeah.
So
That's something to probably communicate is, hey, this is an off-market property. I expect this one to go quickly. So can you get me something by Tuesday at 5 p.m.?
Yeah.
Right. Something like that.
Okay.
Or cool. Even if you can just give me a heads up, like you go through, you haven't put together the quote, but you expect it to be somewhere around 20. Just let me know that and I'll get the quote the next day. That's fine. That helps me. The more information, the better.